Welcome back, everybody. It is the Working Brother back at you with another talk. Yet again, Drago Bosnic joins us. Drago, how you doing, Drago?
Great, man. It's our weekly, monthly, half-yearly show, I guess.
Yes, the not so weekly updates of the comedy articles that you write for Real News. Yes, people, my camera decided to act up again. I swear, I've been connected with it for an hour before recording, and it was perfectly fine like it is now, and then it decides to glitch out from time to time. So enjoy that as much as you can. Also, this is not a real news show. We don't talk about anything real here. This is just comedy. Nothing has anything to do with reality, right, Drago?
Yeah, man. We're just screwing around, and none of it is serious in any way. So
exactly. We've got lots to cover. Did I say this was a comedy show?
No, man, we're serious. We're just
let me address some of the comments that I saw on some of the other talks we did recently. I'm from Serbia. For the new people, hi, welcome. Check out some of the older talks. There's 200 plus videos on this channel. Other than that, yeah, what can I say? If you're here for news updates, and if you're here for a serious discussion of geopolitics, then just click away. Because people were commenting on some of the George videos, it might have been the first time they came across this channel, that I was interrupting him. That is what happens. When people talk, they interrupt each other. When people give a lecture, then you shut up and you listen. But here we talk, and it's casual. There's no it's back and forth. It's comedic also for YouTube censorship effect, basically. So take your panties out of that knot that they're in, and get yourself a coffee. Get me a coffee. Link in the description. Yeah. Enjoy what we've got. We're probably going to do 2 episodes because it's been a while, like Drago said. Let's see what we've got. Oh yeah, by the way, one-man show, so everything here is done by yours truly. One day I'll show you guys behind the scenes how my desktop looks like while we're doing these things. Now, shall we do DD Geopolitics? No. Let's skip DD Geopolitics. Let's go with ancient news. At this point, November 25. Yeah, that's ancient.
Yeah, it is. We've had the world going, turning upside down. So in the meantime, so it might as well be ancient.
So Venezuela.
Yeah. Venezuela doesn't get a break from the U.S. Unfortunately. Namely, we remember, and I think we talked about it. I already did an interview with a Serbian observer in Venezuela, who was there during the July 28 election. And of course, as we all know, the world knows that President Maduro got reelected, right? Well, of course, the U.S. being completely different from the rest of us. They're the garden. We're all the jungle people, I guess. So they said on November 19, specifically, Blinken said that the Venezuelan people spoke resoundingly and made Gonzalez the president-elect. For those who haven't heard of the guy, and most of you probably haven't, he's the president-elect of Venezuela, retroactively elected by the U.S. government, which, it's very easy to differentiate them from the Venezuelan people. You have the U.S. government and you have the Venezuelan people. It's pretty easy to understand if you know basic math and physics or whatever. So, but still, the U.S. Government thought that they get the chance to choose presidents and elect presidents in other countries. And of course, we would all be shocked and surprised if they haven't done it 35,000 times before this. So I guess that's that.
Yeah, what can I say? I think it's time for a meme. I've got a ton of memes here. We've got memes from our subscribers as well. I wanted to. You actually shared this with me. This is not a meme. Well, it's basically a meme. Like your reality being a meme. As if things couldn't get more absurd. The logo of the rebel, quote unquote, Southern Operations Command is essentially a repurposed version of the emblem of representing the Global Liberation Army, a playable faction in the real-time strategy game Command & Conquer. As we've been saying, we're living in the Command & Conquer universe and a couple of other universes. I might leave a link if I find that when I process this video. Drago? Are we going to get into Syria, or shall we get into nuclear apocalypse first? How do you feel?
Well, I mean, this is a good introduction into Syria. So, I mean, all those things are connected. So, we might as well talk about it after we're done with Syria. And
all jokes are connected.
I just want to add one thing. Let's hope that it stays on the general's universe, because if we go into Red Alert and the Tiberium one, it's going to be ugly.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. The Battlefield 2042 universe has been avoided so far, as we discussed here with Hawken. Anyway, yeah, let's continue with your articles in chronological order. Where is my? There it is. What have I got here? What's all this fuss about? Is nuclear war really that dangerous? By the way, Drago Bosnic writes for BRICS portal. You can find the links also in the description. So tell us, what is mutually assured destruction, and why should I care?
Yeah, I mean, it's no big deal. I mean, you're not going to feel anything, or at least most of us are not going to feel anything. It's going to be quite quick. So, if I remember correctly, it takes around 150 milliseconds to register pain, and nuclear explosions usually happen in like 10 to 20 or maybe 30 milliseconds. So yeah, it will be quite fast. I mean, jokes aside, or actually not really jokes, but anyway. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about the entire article because it has a lot of data that that would take at least 15 to 20 minutes to go through. So I advise people to read the article, just to see if they should be worried about nuclear war, and for people who think that this should be an axiom, well, think again, because as we're going to see later, or maybe in the second part of this talk, not everyone understands the dangers of nuclear war, and unfortunately, many of them are people who have decision-making powers. So, let that sink in.
I have no idea what you're talking about. You're absolutely a conspiracy theorist. This is all like Russian propaganda, as far as I'm concerned. It's good to have you back. Among other things, because I can share this with you. This was made in your name. You made the joke first, and it's very to do with our current topic. When you're just a chill guy, and it's only World War III. Yeah, what can I say? The times we are living in are absolutely crazy, to say the least. Should we do some Serbia? Should we let's skip to the future of your articles? And oh, I didn't mute myself. It's so unprofessional. Nuland, that lovely lady with the cookies.
Oh yeah.
Look at her. It's just like beauty and goodness oozing out of her, out of her demeanor.
Yeah, I mean, you would really want to meet a person like this in the dark, Yeah, on the note of what's going on in Serbia and in Georgia, because it's been going on in Georgia for months before this. There's a piece of news that I completely forgot about, and I actually didn't even see it. To be honest, it completely went under my radar. So on September 13, Victoria Nuland, the cookie lady, she got elected to the board of directors of NED, and NED being the National Endowment for Democracy. Yeah, I know. The name itself makes you want to puke, but still. It's far worse than that, because they're essentially a CIA front that is financing all these sorts of color revolution NGOs that are usually activated when you want to attack a country, or if you want to, change the political landscape in a certain country, or, just for a geopolitical effect. And now, with her becoming part of the NED and part of the decision making in NED specifically, can you see I just want to ask people, can you see the connection between her becoming, part of the NED and part of their board of directors, and then seeing everything else that's going on, in the world? And we saw Syria, we saw Georgia, we're seeing Serbia now, and of course, it's very likely we're going to see something in Hungary and Slovakia. So, because those are the non-compliant countries, they dared to break the principles of freedom and democracy. So, yeah, I guess there's no connection, between any of those things, and we're all just conspiracy theorists, right?
Definitely. Here's something from Hawken. On the left, Beograd je opet svet. On the right, Beograd je svet. You guys can read it in English. These people, these young ones, should really do some research, lest they repeat history and put themselves into the same or worse situation than
I just want to say one thing. I understand, because there are a lot of problems in the world, and they're affecting all of us. And of course, every person thinks that the government is responsible, and of course, the government is responsible in most cases. However, the issue with this is that it's not about the person who protests, for legitimate reasons. It's about the person who runs the protests for whatever reason, be it geopolitical, be it political, be it, money. And I can vouch, I've personally seen people saying that they protest only for money, and that they, organize protests only for money. I'm not going to say any names. I don't want to get sued, but I know who they are, and the point is, don't get yourself, pulled by the nose, as the Russians would say, and as the Serbs would say. And, don't let anyone make a fool out of yourself, and, just to use you against your own country. Again, I'm saying, I understand why people are protesting. It's a legitimate reason, but the point is 90% of the people in the history of protests protested for legitimate reasons. The point is they were led by people who had other, motivations for what they were doing. So just be careful, if you're going to fight for your country, there are better ways to do it.
Yeah, and if you're getting sponsored by the NED and Rockefeller and all these clique, then it's highly likely that you're suspect to, I don't know how to even put it gently. But I would advise people to have a look at this, maybe pause it, read it. It's from the Russian channel, those two majors, I believe. That's page 1. This is page 2. Let me zoom out. There you go. You can pause it and read it and have some fun. And then I want to ask you what the fuck this is. like, what the actual fuck is this? Like the red flag of Otpor. It's the revenge flag of the Shia Otpor.
It's the Brotherhood of the NED resistance. So,
Brotherhood of the Otpor. Oh, which reminds me, we had FIFO case of a meme. First in, first out. No, LIFO. Sorry, last in, first out. Where is that Vex thing? Did I even open it? I think I didn't even open it. Let's do. Do you have anything more to say about these Otpor people while I go look for this meme?
Yeah, sure. I can explain a bit of a history behind those guys. I suggest people
give us a clue who Canvas is too. Canvas. Mention them too.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I'm not going to mention any names. Just look for an organization called Canvas. Again, I don't want to name names because I don't want to get sued by the MF the guy who runs this, who is not absolutely not a CIA asset at all. I mean, there is no way that he is a CIA asset. And
I have no idea who you're talking about, but I've heard him described as an anti-Serb.
Yeah. And his last name means that guy. That guy. His last name means the son of a priest in Serbian, and now the Serbs will know who he is, and they can tell you if you know some Serbs.
For real? That's the guy? I didn't even realize that's the guy. This is a meme sent in by Vexpero just as we were about to start recording. He sent it in chat, and that's what I was alluding to with last in, first out. So yeah, the original symbol. People may remember it.
It's a democratic symbol. Anyone who says otherwise is a conspiracy theorist, and of course, it's only been used for peaceful purposes. For peaceful transition of power, with no neocolonialism. Coming afterwards. It's again, anyone who says otherwise is a conspiracy theorist. So whenever you see a fist that goes like this on a banner, it's 100% legit, and there's no CIA behind it at all.
Just like when you see them fully covered with the orange jumpsuits and like beheading people with a green screen in the back, definitely not CIA. Definitely organic Islamic jihadis. Let's get back to your comedy material here. Ukraine's nuclear past.
Brighter topics like nukes, man.
Right. Before we eventually get to jihadis with nukes. In any case, go on, Drago. Tell us about these.
We have the Kiev regime that's openly talking about getting nuclear weapons from the United States, and getting medium-range missiles such as a Tomahawk or some even longer-ranged ones to hit Russia, because that's how democracy works. Those people are not insane at all. I just think they're completely reasonable, especially because, they think through before they talk or act. So just like, for example, the guy that we're going to mention later on, and, for his reasons why he thinks nuclear war is a good idea. He's a Ukrainian fan of nuts. He's a very, very big fan of nuts. So, and you will see why he likes it.
Let me cue that. Right here, we've got via DD Geopolitics. If you believe that's double D, I've got a bridge to sell you on the moon. In case you needed proof that the Ukrainian Nazis are not bright, and the leader of the Ukrainian. Oh, I've seen this. Let's play it. Via Aussie Kazakh, actually, stolen by DD. Let's put it that way.
Ну, в принципі, ядерна війна, Путін до цього не докотиться. Чому? Тому що це добре. Ядерна війна, нарешті, не буде по поводу вже більше нить. Після ядерного удара вже гірше нічого не станеться, і нарешті ми вже не будемо нити, а от буде ядерна війна, боже, все, вже ядерна війна є, вже все, далі тільки воюємо. От ядерної війни ми не програємо. Від ядерної війни від Росії відвернеться Індія і Китай, тому що вони категорично сказали, ядерна війна змусить уже весь Захід нас підтримувати. Я виступаю за ядерну війну. Я думаю, що після Сталкер 2 ми до цього вже всі готові, найкраще на планеті. Знову ж таки, може після ядерної війни нам набридне жити на цій планеті, ми вернемося до справді цікавих цілей людства, да, там штучний інтелект, роботи, тому що по ядерній авіації. Тому Путін не піде на ядерну.
What?
Yeah. AI and robots are really going to work after the EMP hits everything. Sure, buddy. What do you say about a person that thinks they're ready for nuclear war because Stalker 2 is out? The post-apocalyptic game where you don't have to eat, you don't have to sleep in a radioactive environment, where you just go around and shoot stuff. So, this guy sounds legit. Sounds completely normal and, just a fun guy, I would say.
I'm in the chat of the other premiere that's going live now, or that is there. Dagestan is the other Muslim republic where they had problems last time. That's the one I couldn't remember in that talk. Yes. Now back to your comedy material. U.S. escalates. U.S. is always escalating. It's the only thing they know how to do. Aggression.
That's
You
like
think Trump?
democracy, man. Let's not
That's it.
get into
That's
Russian
it.
propaganda.
That's it. The Panama Canal needs more democracy. Asia Pacific, Russia to support allies in the region, etc., etc., etc. Did they send more missiles?
Yeah,
Or
they're
tanks?
sending bombers and nuclear submarines and missiles and all sorts of goodies that are good for democracy and everyone else around the world. It's things that never cause any wars. When have they? So the point is, the autocratic, evil Russians decided they don't want democracy, so they're now going into the region and offering help to everyone else who is authoritarian and doesn't understand the values of democracy and freedom. And of course, free press and all these other goodies that the West respects 100%. As we see every time we do a show, we can see that the freedom of opinion and expression of opinion is 100% present on YouTube. So and all these other platforms. Ridiculous jokes aside. The point is, the Russians are actually they've promised that they would move in certain medium range and intermediate range missiles into any area that the U.S. might want to escalate in, and then that of course includes the Asia Pacific. So I guess the Americans have unleashed the bear, and now they have to contend with it. So good luck with that.
Unleashing the bear. And the panda. Also a bear, by the way, for people who don't know. In any case, Deep State is closing. Did you hear that?
Oh, interesting. Why?
You didn't hear? Apparently, somebody in the commanders-in-chief, I don't know what that means, doesn't like the truth that they were putting out. And the rumor is that they might get mobilized. I wonder why that is.
That might be the reason why they're not going to be working anymore. So,
this next topic. Trust and Turkey. Can you put them in the same sentence?
Yeah, that was the question, obviously. And it was a rhetorical one, so I guess people understand already. So, I wrote this on December 2nd. So this was before the escalation in, before the whole thing went down. And, when the Syrian government seemed as if everything was fine, and until it wasn't, unfortunately. So, I mentioned in this case that the Turks are certainly not to be trusted because they've demonstrated that, throughout history, especially Mr. Erdogan, the most trustworthy guy ever, who never broke any promises, and is such a Democrat. I mean, he's such a lovely guy. So the point is, I advise people to read it. I can go through all the reasons why Turkey shouldn't be trusted, but that's going to require an entire new show just for the last 15 years of Erdogan's tenure. So
a new show, not a new talk, not a new talk, like a whole new show series on like why Turkey can't be trusted. We should maybe do that.
We shouldn't trust the Turks. Yeah, it would require a whole new series. So yeah, I just advise people to read about this specific part. So.
All right, let's see what else we've got here. We've got like 20 overall. But we won't get through all of them in this one. America's justice system deserves nothing but total ridicule. Justice system. You want to tell us what your argument here is?
Yeah, it got worse in the meantime. When I wrote this, it was December 3rd. And of course, this was about, President Biden pardoning his, great son, Hunter, who hasn't committed any crime at all. I mean, I don't even know what he had to pardon him for. The guy's just great. And jokes aside, we all know what sort of person, well, let's call him a person, for the lack of a better term. We all know what sort of a guy Hunter is. And in the meantime, it got even worse because Mr. Fauci, the guy who really, takes care of our health, there are rumors that Mr. Biden is going to give him a preemptive pardon, which is unheard of in the history of, of the legal systems and justice systems anywhere, I suppose. Because in order to get a preemptive pardon, that means, that somebody is expecting you to be, accused of a crime. And Fauci hasn't been.
I think that works for like kings and queens and stuff. Like they are infallible, as in cannot be.
Yeah, but this is a bit different. Like they have total, complete immunity from whatever. But this guy, he's not royalty. He's nothing, of that sort. But they want to give him, a preemptive pardon.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe he is. Maybe he is. I don't know. But the point is,
how much do you actually know about Fauci? Do you know that he was in charge of basically AIDS as well?
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Well, that would, I think it would need he would need several Democratic presidents to get all the pardons he needs. If that's the case. So.
What was I gonna say? In case you didn't know, this channel is not eligible for monetization. So, don't forget to check out the Patreon. Thank you for everybody who's a patron, and you can buy me a coffee if you so feel like it. So now that that's out of the way, preemptive pardons and history in New York. That's all I'm gonna say. Go look it up. Trump's alleged Ukraine plan unacceptable to Russia, but NATO doesn't even want that? What? Huh? I'm confused.
Yep. Yeah, the point is Trump. This is this is why I said alleged plan, because I never heard Trump say. This is mostly coming from the U.S. and some other media. It's about freezing the conflict, and Ukraine doesn't get into NATO for 10 to 20 years. There are various. Different sorts of sources.
Retarded. All of the versions that I heard are retarded, and I'm sure the Russians are sitting there going, like, "What? like what?"
All of those are completely retarded, as you said, because of course it essentially just.
For people who are sensitive, retarded means backwards. Retarded means slow. When you land a plane, you retard the throttle. So, like, retarded is just means it's slow. It's just not offensive. Don't get your panties in a bunch. We already discussed that. Go on, Drago. Sorry.
I mean, you're right. We're not talking about people with special needs. Obviously, we're talking about certain things that are, that are retarded. I don't know how else to call it. So, because the plan is to essentially it would be a defeat for Russia, because what the Russians want to do, they want to push NATO away from Russian borders, and if there is a freeze in the conflict and Ukraine gets into NATO in 20 years, and the Russians have been doing this for nothing. So obviously the Russians didn't want this. But the point is, NATO doesn't want that. NATO wants a total defeat for Russia. That's what they've been saying, because if Russia wins, then all these autocracies around the world are not going to respect democracy, and they might get encouraged to attack all these other countries. I mean, that's the rhetoric, obviously, because NATO never attacked anyone. I mean, God forbid. They did it, completely legally.
Are you even a Serb? Are you even a Serb? Are you even a Serb? What do you mean they didn't attack anyone? Like, people in the comments on, like, in chat, like, who came across you and me. Man, I think it's I don't know what makes my viewership lower, the fact that it's geopolitics or the fact that it's high shelf humor that requires an IQ higher than your shoe size. But for everybody who is here and who is putting up with these glitches of my camera, thank you. Yeah, I'm grateful to your eyes. Now, this is what you've all been waiting for. Sick and tired of Western arrogance. China puts Baerbock in her place. Did you guys see that video? If you didn't, look it up. I don't have it queued, but it's hilarious. They're like, please leave. Just no, go. No, go, please.
The best thing ever, man. It made my week, not my day, but my freaking week. And when I saw it, it was just, oh my God! I had to rewatch it, time and again, just it's awesome. The point is, for those who don't know, Miss Baerbock or Mrs. Baerbock, I don't even know. I mean, I can't even imagine who puts up with this crazy bitch. The point is, she's a diplomat. She's a top diplomat of Germany, their minister of foreign affairs. And obviously, it seems that she was learning about diplomacy from a cookbook, because she doesn't even know how to behave, when invited somewhere as a guest. So what she was doing for months and for years, she was,
learning
talking.
learning about diplomacy from a cookbook, man. Like that should be a shirt. We're gonna have to make merch eventually. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue, please.
But I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, because you don't need to be trained in diplomacy to understand when you're going to insult your host, right? And that's talking shit about your host or whatever, and then going into his house and then continue talking shit. So the point is, for months and years, she's been saying that Xi Jinping is a dictator, that the Chinese are bad, and so on and so on. And then she went, she asked them to go and visit to negotiate certain things, because the German economy is doing so great since they imposed those Russian sanctions. And they need help, to make it even better. Jokes aside, the point is, as we all know, Germany is going through a period of deindustrialization, unseen since World War II, essentially. And that was a time, for those who don't know, when bombs were being dropped on the German industry. Now they have a similar effect, just in peace. So the point is, she needs the Chinese far more than the Chinese need her, So, and she went there, and she again started talking shit and saying that, she was essentially threatening the Chinese because they were maintaining normal relations with Russia. And she was saying, China is going to pay if it continues doing business with Russia, and so on and so on. And then the Chinese got fed up with it, and then they just threw her out. They just told her, okay, we're finishing the the press
and told the foreign media, please turn off your cameras and come here, just leave.
Yeah, and then one of the guys literally showed her like this, get the fuck out. We're done. So,
latest Zircon test reaffirms Russia's hypersonic dominance. This was December 6th, so we're getting close to current times. By the way, we're recording this on Christmas Eve, 24th night time. I guess that's Christmas Eve, right?
Yep.
So, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that good stuff to everyone. Also, the Serbs, we know. They all have the wrong calendar. But they'll get it right sooner or later. The update will come through. Latest Zircon test reaffirms Russian hypersonic dominance. Yes, but didn't the Americans succeed in some tests recently, Drago?
Yeah, they have, although it doesn't come anywhere near this, because this is an operational weapon, and the Americans just managed to do one successful test after 35 failures or something like that. So, by the way, the U.S. hasn't had a truly successful hypersonic test since December 2013, and now it's December 2024. So that's 11 years, right, of democratic and freedom testing that was perfect.
Wait, I got a question. You'd be the guy to ask. There's this new game that came out, Sea Power, and it deals with sea power, as in ships and warships of I think it goes up to the 80s or something like that. And I was wondering, do the Americans have any anti-ship or surface-to-surface missiles that are actually hypersonic or supersonic even back then? Because the Russians
they have supersonic. I'm not sure about the 80s. In the 80s they didn't have it. In the 80s they only had the Harpoon, and they still have the Harpoon. But now they have the SM-6, which is a multi-role missile that can also be used for air defense and so on and so on. But the point is, they really need something that's going to be on the same level as Russian and Chinese anti-ship missiles. Because I mean, it's logical. Because why would the Russians need very good anti-ship missiles? Because the U.S. has the most powerful navy in the world. So if that's the case, then what you need is good anti-ship missiles. Just like the Russians, they know that the U.S. had.
China number
they
one.
They know that the U.S. and NATO rely on air dominance for military power projection. So what do you need? Well, you need things to shoot down those jets with. And of course, that's where we have the S-300, S-400, and these other air defense systems, which have shown, that they are far more capable than any other in the world. So in actual combat and high intensity combat at that. So in this case, if we're going to compare the Zircon to the Dark Eagle or the LRHW, as it's called, the project long-range hypersonic weapon that's supposed to be like multi-branch, that it should go to the U.S. Army and the U.S. Navy and so on and so on. The point is, the Zircon has been operational for years at this point, while the U.S. is just catching up to Russian, first generation hypersonic weapons. So the Russians are like 4 generations ahead of the U.S. in that regard. So the U.S. has a lot of catching up to do. I mean, the U.S. has a lot of catching up to do with Iran and North Korea, not to mention the Chinese and the Russians. And,
I was gonna say that, yeah.
Yeah. So the point is, in this specific case, why was this test important? Because this was the first time we got a clearer look at the Zircon, and this essentially confirmed what several colleagues who are military analysts as well, like myself, we 2 years ago we argued that the Zircon looks exactly like another Russian supersonic. In this case, it's a supersonic anti-ship missile. It's called the P-800 Onyx. And it literally has the same shape or a very similar shape. You can put it in the same VLS, which is a vertical launch system. So what the Russians have managed to do, they managed to take a supersonic missile, which is from the 90s, and then pack it with hypersonic technology in the same space, and make it just a bit more expensive. But the point is, it's 3 times faster. And the kinetic energy and everything else just does the trick. So this is like the proof of the Russian military genius, where you can see that they can pull off things that no other country can. Because the U.S., the U.S. hypersonic weapons are large. They require much larger platforms for them to be launched. On the other hand, the Russians have hypersonic missiles that can be put on corvettes and frigates, which are much smaller, ships. So. A frigate.
Sounds like Russian propaganda.
It's Russian propaganda. A frigate, which is supposed to be like a small ship, can actually have the strategic reach, because the Zircon has, depending on the flight profile, it can have up to 2,000 kilometers range.
I want to take a break and go back to that student stuff. This was shared by yours truly. Also, it's a quote of Nimakita Admin 1 saying that he just likes running over students. and the second photo, when I see last night's Impressions of the Week TV show, the leaders of the students' programs whine about how we were genocidal. But then there's details. And good old Sloba superimposed by AI. It could be AI. I think it's AI. It's probably AI. Yeah. National Meme Coordination Body of Serbia. Drago, comments? Anything else to add?
Oh man, this is all just propaganda, anti-democratic propaganda. I believe that we're going to have an improvement in the democratic processes in Serbia because of Victoria Nuland's ascendance to the board of the directors. And anything I say, I don't want to disrupt that process at all.
All I can say is I'm hoping for a snowstorm that lasts until the inauguration. In any case, about that genocidal thing, apparently this meme won. I didn't even share you guys in the chat for you guys to go like it, but Religijski extremism. Did a little competition, and this was my reaction to what the Serbs were probably thinking when we got named the genocidal people. Yeah, we've done that. I might leave a link to that genocidal talk we did with some genocide humor. Let's do another NATO aggression humor topic. Yet another sovereign nation destroyed. Syria. No, really? And NATO aggression against the world. Drago?
Oh man, this was a complete shock for me when it happened because I kept returning to the older maps when they had far less control over the country, and when they didn't have the Iranians and the Russians on the ground to help them, and I was like, I mean, I have to say, for the first time in my life, I was probably coping, hard, thinking that they're gonna succeed in fighting them off. But only later I learned.
I was talking to a friend after it happened. I was like, "What's up? What are you doing?" He's like, "Nothing. I'm watching the co-explanations." So, like, he coined co-explanations for when that happened. So there you go. Tell us about your co-explanations.
Oh man, like this is. I mean, in this case, there was no coping. I just pretty much explained what's going to happen to the poor country, and that's exactly what's going on. And it's not because I'm psychic or anything. I think anyone with 2 functioning brain cells would have predicted what's going to happen. So, the point is, this is horrible because the country was not perfect. Certainly, no country is, but it was far better for everyone before the crazies who want to blow themselves up took everything over. Oh, sorry, I forgot. They're actually the modern democratic opposition. How stupid of me.
We just learned they're the Syrian gamers. They're the Syrian gamers.
Yeah. It's horrifying what happened to the country, and I was cheering for the country. During the whole conflict, the so-called Syrian civil war. I think it's pretty clear that the actual Syrian civil war is just starting. And what the mainstream propaganda machine called the Syrian civil war was actually NATO invasion. I just advise people to read a bit about it, from older news in 2011, 2012 to see what was going on. And, because we mentioned video games as a way to understand geopolitics, well, if people remember the first Call of Duty Modern Warfare, there was this bad guy in the game called Al-Assad, and that was in 2007. So what they were doing is they were essentially preparing,
No way! I never caught that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, well, the guy was literally called Al-Assad. You had the crazy Russian called Imran Zakayev, which
I'll try and find a video. Keep talking.
Yeah. And of course, this evil Al-Assad dictator had to be taken out. And 4 years later, boom, there you have it. The evil dictator of Syria, also accidentally called Al-Assad, obviously. They had to take him out because he was a crazy dictator. Luckily, now Syria has democracy. We're going to see how that works out.
We have the clip. Hold on. Let me put that here. And then put this, where is this? Theater mode. And then go here. No, go here. What is this? Why is this not playing? Oh, there.
Why'd you do it? Where did you get the bomb?
Chemical bomb, probably.
Right? And they're the pink helmets in the game.
Give me a name.
Yeah.
A name. I want his name.
I mean, in the game, it was a nuke, but still, it would have been better if they had a chemical weapon. It would be 100% in line.
Why does this guy have a British accent? What do you think?
This is so fun.
Because the UK and the MI6 is absolutely not involved, in anything that happens in Syria or anywhere else for that matter. So yeah.
Definitely not. Did I have a meme? I think I had a meme. Yes, I did. It's not a
Let's do a
meme.
meme.
It's actually a screenshot from Twitter. I can't believe the American congressman wore the Russian military uniform to Congress. Russia owns our politicians. Readers added context. I'll leave the context for you guys to read. Yeah. So that's how the U.S. is doing, and that has nothing to do with that Syria article that we were talking about.
Yeah, jokes write themselves. And just today I saw that the Israeli ambassador to Cairo had a lot of bad things to say about the current Egyptian government. So it seems that conspiracy theory about two rivers that are very far apart and shouldn't normally be borders of any country are now being targeted as borders of a certain country. I don't know which one it is, but yeah. And for those who don't know, Nile is in Egypt and Euphrates is in Syria. So I guess you know which borders.
And a little further that way as well. Anyway, like, share, subscribe. Keep calm. Wait for Russians. As always, don't confuse the Russian propaganda for the truth, even though they often appear the same. Yeah. Every rational person knows this is not what self-defense looks like. That's about it. Drago, we've gone 6 minutes.
Yep.
Do you want to say anything before we round off this talk?
Yeah, celebrate, every day of your life, because Nuland is part of the NED now. So, and other crazies, are in the U.S. government, and we still have a month to go before Trump. So, and who knows what's going to happen after him. So, I wish you a very blessed, Christmas, and I hope that nothing bad happens.
Yeah, and if you see that 3 a.m. sun, you know what's up. Like, share, subscribe for the algorithm, not for me. Just so other people can be, exposed to this lovely humor. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you later.